Greetings, body jugglers. This is Satek Ananda from the new Body Juggling Zendo in Venice Beach, California, with my longest student, Nancy Cote. How you doing, Nance?
I'm good, Satek. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much. So can you tell me how long it's been? Do you know how long it's been since we've done just a training session for you alone?
Oh, I'm thinking at least 7 months.
Right. It's been a long time.
A long
Um,
time, yes.
because what we shifted to was doing sessions with your students so that that I could help you figure this weird crazy game of how do you teach people this kind of complex movement and play. And however long we've been doing it, you still don't really feel completely competent, right? Or are you feeling competent nowadays?
Well, I'm fine doing it on my own, but I think anyone who wants to become really proficient at teaching needs to go back for classes. And I'd
Right.
like to progress someday so that I can actually work with you to actually teach other people to teach. So
Right.
I have these goals that I like to springing on you at the last minute. That's
Right.
my long-term goal, is that this is going to be something other people want to teach. And I would like to be able to be someone who can teach other people how to become teachers, a teacher.
Well, that's awesome, and that's really the only way that it's going to survive is other people coming in as teachers, not just playing around with it. Unfortunately, you can't really get a bar for $100 like a skateboard, so it's not likely that people are going to be doing this all over the planet on their own. We're going to have people to teach it, kind of the same way Pilates grew and was disseminated by people coming in and realizing this is effective and I want to teach this. So that's awesome. If I wasn't so, multidimensional with, things that I have to do all over the place, I probably could have codified a teacher training process, more specifically a long time ago. But what I realized is that training a teacher is one thing, and then teaching people to teach teachers is it's a
Absolutely.
whole different level. And I went through the whole process once to develop the practice. Then I went through the whole process again to figure out how to teach the practice. And now I got to go through it all over again to figure out how to teach people to teach the
Right.
teachers.
I don't actually see me being ready for that for quite a ways down the road. But it's a goal. I want to be a very good teacher, and I need to be able to understand that I do understand this. There are many ways of people learning and understanding and describing to them how to do something, and to convey that to another teacher is something that's going to be a whole new dimension.
Right. Right. Okay. So, in terms of what we're going to focus on right now, getting back into your own personal training, um, it seems like there are two main things that I've kind of felt in your words and your actions. One being you want to feel more flow, that you had flow at a point and you don't really feel it the same way now and you want to get back to that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I named this episode Mastery of Flow 1, so that's perfect. And then number two, you want to learn slash help create a new sequence, a new form.
Yes.
And it's way overdue for a new one. The first one took I don't know, about a month and a half for Wallace and I to create. It's way overdue, and the only reason I haven't done it is because so few people are actually competent at at the first one. Dragonfly is a complex thing to learn, and even once you learn it, then you have a lot of styling to get to that place where you can actually embody flow. And so out of everybody that has learned Dragonfly, there's probably only a handful of you guys that actually were doing it at performance level. You, Nydia, Shara, Wallace, and maybe a couple of others. Everybody else either focused on the fitness aspect of it or just learned it enough to do it, but didn't have the time, energy, or money to perfect it, to really go deep inside of it. So What I want to do is I want to start by focusing on flow. And by that, I mean not even necessarily with the ball and bar. We will work with the ball and bar today, but flow exists outside of the ball and the bar. And learning to create that feeling, experience that feeling is necessary in order to be able to experience it on the ball. I've been talking about flow for many, many years, but working with the Flow Genome Project in Google showed me really specifically that one of the most valuable things I do is teaching flow. I teach people how to exist in that, what the sports people call the zone, right? Where time and space and your thoughts, nothing exists except for your experience. And I don't need the ball and the bar to do that. You know, the ball and the bar is a great way. It's a super fun way. It's a super healing way to do that, but I don't need to do need that to do it. And then the second step will be building out this second form. I had a name for it. First one's called Dragonfly. I had a name for it years ago, but I haven't been back to that document in a long time, so I can't remember what it was. But I think all the forms were going to be named after animals. So I think we're going to have like a tiger, you know, kind of like Kung Fu. You got a tiger, a snake, a mantis, a crane, you know. And so crane will be all about balance, and tiger will be all about power and, you know, seductive, you know, or whatever. So we'll figure out the name of it, you know, as we begin doing it, and we're going to create it through your freestyle.
Okay.
Does that sound daunting?
Because I didn't move into freestyle. Yeah, it's always a little threatening because then you're thinking about, this is my creation. This is, you know, we're developing out of something I've done, and so freestyle can be a little frightening.
Yeah, improvisation is challenging for everyone except those who have mastered it, which is actually very few. I did improvisation theater for many years, and it was one of the most important things I ever learned. It's a skill that is tantamount to being able to speak. It's a skill that's tantamount to language, and how much it helps your overall life, your processes, your ability to communicate, your ability to accept yourself, you know, is profoundly important. And is a necessary step in learning to master improvisation. It's not going to be just you. It's going to be a collaboration, so don't worry about that. And the first one was created through collaboration as well. I didn't just tell her what to do. I let her move, and I watched, and we talked about it, and we tried this, and we tried this, and, you know, that's not working. Let's go to this, you know. And I think the creativity of that process will feed your soul in a way it perhaps hasn't really been fed before. Because I know at heart you're a dancer, you know, you're a mover. And every dancer needs a choreographer. Every musician needs a, you know, a conductor, a composer, you know, whatever. So those are my two focuses for this. Do you know if Friday is going to work for you for the long haul, or are we just squeezing this in this week because it worked this week?
No, I think for the long haul, unless I have a DJ event, it will be fine. I know I have one March 11th, so that might be, unless I can get out of work earlier and make something earlier for you, that might be a little difficult.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we'll lock it into the schedule from now. For now, let me know if it needs to change. As long as I'm out here in Venice, I think it'll work fine for me. I'm still not sure how long I'm going to be here. So if I shift locations, you know, we might need to shift, but that'll work for me now. And let's see, any other questions before we get to this mastery of flow?
No, I'm pretty well in communication with you whenever I want to be. So.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So what we're going to start with is Qigong, and I think I can finagle enough room in here to demonstrate for you. If not, I'll just talk you through it. Have you ever done Qigong with me before?
Yes, or was it Tai Chi? that you had me do? We did some energy work. We did
It's
some energy work.
it's going to be the same thing pretty much either way. Tai Chi is like the really complicated and martial version of Qigong. Just like Dragonfly is the complicated and challenging version of, you know, Sculpt and Burn or whatever. But everything that Tai Chi is based on Qigong. So I always do Qigong when I'm teaching that. The reason I want to get you back into the feeling of that now is because flow, more than anything, is about a feeling. Okay? It's about a feeling. Just like balance is about feeling. You cannot think your way into balance because it doesn't come from a thought. Same way, you cannot think your way into flow because it doesn't come from a thought. It doesn't come from packets of information. Okay, so I want to reestablish your nervous system in the feeling of effortless flow, and then we'll take that wisdom onto the ball and the bar. Cool?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to turn this over here and see if I can get, I'm going to have to see. Hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, I got to see if we can work without the headphones since I got to be back here. So we can sort of, it's kind of creepy, but, you know, looks like a horror movie. Okay, so I want you to position your screen, maybe not so high up, down a little bit more, but not low enough that I can't see your head if you stand back a bit.
Let's see how we go.
Yeah, perfect. And you can come closer. And I've got a big bed right here next to me, so I don't have full range of my arms. But you're the one on screen, Major, so I'm just doing this for demonstrations, okay? So we're going to start by shaking your hands like you're flicking water off your fingertips.
I'm going to take my gloves off.
Yes, that will help for Qigong. So shake those hands like you're flicking water off your wrists. Here. And as you do this, don't just do the movement. I want you to feel your elbows, feel your shoulders, and relax them so that this vibration you're creating in your hands will move deeper and deeper into your body. You can feel that shake in your shoulders, right?
Yes.
Relax your shoulders and see if you can feel those hands shaking in your core, in your center. Good. Now raise those arms all the way up, and you're going to stretch as tall as you can. Imagine you're hanging from your wrists. And then you're going to forward fold, swan dive down to a forward fold. And you're going to come as far down as you can comfortably. Don't push. I want you to just hang and then move, rotate any of your joints that you need to, your wrists, your fingers, your elbows, your shoulders, head and spine. Let anything that needs to move, move. Then roll up one vertebra at a time, slowly and gently. Good, and then shoulder rolls. Both shoulders, big circles, the biggest shoulders circles you can find. Good. Back to center. Arch your back as far as you can comfortably, and then wiggle anything you need to wiggle to make it more comfortable. And then flex your back and wiggle. Arch and flex. Good. Back to center. Feet shoulder width apart. You're going to do hip circles. Slowly increase that motion. Focus on releasing any tension you can find in your hips, your low back, your sacrum. And reverse. So we want to use the movement to find the tightness, to find the pain. and release it. Moving like a massage. Good. Put both feet together, hands on your knees, circles with your knees. And reverse. Now these are just some basic Qigong warm-ups, and the purpose of these is to relax all of your joints, because relaxation allows you to feel deeper. Good. And then you're going to put one toe into the ground, circles with your heel. Relax that ankle. Reverse. Good, and switch. And reverse. Okay, good. Last one. You're going to twist from your dantian and the core. Arms are loose and floppy like limp noodles. And you're just going to twist back and forth. Your arms should be flopping into your body if your shoulders are really soft. I want you to pay attention to the feeling of your arms moving through space, especially the feeling of gravity pulling them down and in. The feeling of gravity is going to be really important to relaxing your body. And relaxing your body is of crucial importance to discovering flow. Good. And center. Awesome. Now you're going to rub your hands together to use friction to create heat. Feel heat?
Yes.
Make more heat. Now stop and notice what happens to the heat.
Tingling in the hands.
Okay. Do you feel it getting less hot? Do you feel the heat moving away?
Yes.
Okay. Do you feel that heat moving out or into your body?
Out.
Okay, beautiful. Do it again. This time I want you to imagine the heat moving in and see if you can feel it.
Okay.
And stop. Can you feel it moving in?
Yes.
Beautiful. In reality, it moves in both directions, right? All heat, the energy disperses as uniformly as possible, okay? What's important is to notice that there's a difference between the feeling of out and the feeling of in, right? One is yin, one is yang. They're both true all the time, but usually you're going to focus, you're going to notice one or the other, okay? So all these movements we do, I want you to notice the difference between the feeling of moving up and the feeling of moving down, the feeling of moving out, as opposed to the feeling of moving in, okay? I want you to notice the difference between those two sensations. So we're going to start with the arms over your head. You're going to close your eyes and notice how you know your hands are over your head, because you can feel them.
Yes.
So notice what that feels like. When I say release, you're going to relax your arms, let them swing down in front of you, and you're going to let them swing until they stop on their own accord. Don't speed them up. Don't try to stop them. Just let them swing until they stop on their own accord, and I want you to pay attention to the feeling. Ready? And release. Good. Now notice what they feel like down. How do you know they're down? Because you can feel them. So notice what that feels like. It's going to be distinctly different than up. Good. And we're going to do it one more time. Hands go back up over your head. This time I want you to pay attention to all the sensations that tell you your hands over your head. Notice the tension in your shoulders required to hold them up. Notice the blood in your fingertips draining down. Notice any other sensations that tell you your hands are over your head. And then this time we're going to relax even more and release the arms. Good. Notice what the hands feel like down. And now I want you to let your hands float up so slowly you cannot feel them move. Notice that you can't. No matter how slowly you move, you still feel your hands moving.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you wouldn't know they were moving. Good. Now let them float down so slowly you cannot feel them move. Notice that down feels different than up. Okay. Good. Now do it again, but even slower. Let the hands raise up even slower. And notice that the slower you move, the stronger the sensation, the awareness of that movement becomes. In Tai Chi, the slower you move and the softer your body is, the more relaxed you are, the stronger you feel your body's movement through space. Good. Now sink that slowly. Science calls this feeling of your body moving through space proprioception. The Chinese call it qi. You say tomato, I say tomato. Good. And shake it out. So did you feel the difference between up and down?
Yes, I felt more in the work and the response of my muscles than, you know, the hands, because I felt like they weren't doing any effort. It was the work of the rest of my body to bring them up and bring them down.
Okay, so we need to work on that, because the idea of Tai Chi is effortlessness, okay? So if you're feeling your muscles, you're still too tense, okay?
I'm pretty sore. Angie put me through the paces Wednesday.
Say what? Oh, got you. Okay. So here's what I want you to do. Traditionally, there's no way for you to raise your arm without this, without the shoulder tensing and raising, okay? In Tai Chi, you never tense and raise your shoulders. You raise your arm like this. See how my shoulder didn't move?
Yeah.
Okay. And the way to achieve that, using the arm without the muscle of the shoulder, is by imagining you have a string connected to the center of each wrist. And I want you to imagine that string pulling your wrists up. So your shoulders are going to stay completely soft, okay? So you're going to do it again. You're going to do it in front of you again with both hands. Imagine that you have strings on your wrists and you're like a marionette. And then the string's going to lower to sink your arm. So the string is still holding your arm up. If you're doing this properly, you should feel far more sensation in your hands than you do in your arms or your shoulders. Do that again, raising up with that string, pulling the arms. And letting the arm gently float down. Okay, are you feeling the space as your hands move through it now?
Yes, when my focus is on my hands, yes. Yes.
Good. Did you feel less tension in your arms that way?
Yes.
Good. So to complete that one exercise, now we're going to make it smooth out, right? So instead of just doing this, we're going to imagine a wave coming out of the chest that pushes the elbows. Then the wrists follow, and the hands are going to roll over the top of that wave and come back down the backside, okay? So now it's a wave instead of a string, and if you still need to use the string, that's fine. But this wave will support your arm in the same way, without the shoulders, without effort. And then the arms roll over that wave and sink down the backside. Turn sideways for me so I can see your form as you do this. Once again, I want you to focus on the sensation, the feeling, not on trying to do a movement in a certain way. So imagine that wave rolling out of your chest, pushing the elbows, then the wrists, then the fingers. Everything rolls over that wave and sinks down the backside. Beautiful. Now connect your breath. Inhale as you float up. And exhale as you float down. So every single repetition of Qigong you want to use as a challenge, as an invitation to relax a little bit deeper. And the deeper you relax, the thicker that space should feel as you move through it. So it'll start out feeling like air, then it'll begin to feel like water, then molasses or mud, and eventually it'll almost start to feel solid. Okay, good. And shake it out. So one of the reasons that flow is difficult is because we're not taught to move with effortlessness in practically anything, including ballet. You know, they look effortless, but they're taught to get there through a lot of strict, really linear, really, you know, hard things. We have no experience of moving through effortlessness. So with Tai Chi and Qigong, it's literally retraining the brain body connection and the neurological, you know, your nervous system basically. The importance of that, and we had to I remember now teaching you some of the Qigong to get that arm floating on lazy pigeon, you know, like you could not get that right coming from muscles, right? But once you relax, let that shoulder soften, and then could feel that string pull that arm up, then it got really soft and pretty, okay? So everything we're going to do with the ball and the bar, I want you to be thinking about space in the same way you were just feeling space. I want you to focus on relaxation because that's going to allow you to feel. That's going to allow you to feel the space. Homework is I want you to practice just that one movement every day. Inhale, floating, rolling over. Exhale, draining down. Inhale, exhale. The breath is a huge part of discovering flow as well, because the breath is the first place that you will begin creating tension. Your diaphragm, your lungs, your ribs, that's the first place tension will start. So if you can keep your breath relaxed, the rest of your body will be relaxed. Make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Now we're going to turn the camera a little bit so I can see your whole bar, and you're going to get your ball, and we're going to start moving.
Is that better? I have my glasses on.
Yep. Down a little bit. Down a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
All right, so hop on your ball facing me. And we're going to do some exercises, but we're not doing them as sculpt and burn right now. We're doing them seeking flow. The difference is subtle but very important. In sculpt and burn, you're focusing on muscles firing. You're focusing on force. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on feeling, and we're going to focus on relaxation. All right. So let's actually start out on your knees.
And I don't like this ball. Sorry.
Well, that's right. Why don't you like that ball?
It's too spongy.
Yeah, I don't like them too spongy either.
It's more for the back bar, smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right, so you're gonna do let's say 15 hip touches on each side, but instead of focusing on your burn, I want you to focus on your effortlessness. So I want you to try and do them so that you're getting more effortless each time, and by the 15th one, it takes less energy than it did on the first one. It's going to require feeling your center more. It's going to require feeling all the fibers that are firing and letting go of the ones that aren't necessary. Fingertips is good.
Yeah, I found I was gripping, trying to be soft here. I was moving the tension up in my body.
Oh, nice. Good notice. That's what happens. The more you practice relaxation, the quicker tension will like jump to your awareness.
Now it's 15 on one side.
Good. Mm-hmm.
This side was harder.
Good to notice. Good to notice. Okay, so I want you to use that same sensation. Give me 15 side kicks on one side, 15 on the other, focusing on making each one more effortless than the last. So when you focus on your effort, flow will become much easier to find than when you try and think about it as position or correctness or anything like that, any kind of linear concept. It's going to be harder to find flow than if you just focus on effort. And the more effortless you are, the more flow you're embodying. Flow is always discovered through repetition. The reason is when we're learning something, we're thinking. We can't help it. And if you're thinking, you're slowing down your process. So we have to do something over and over again until we can stop thinking about it and just feel it. And when you feel at that deeper level, the feedback you get, every single movement gives you feedback that you can use to become more effortless, more deeply inside of flow. Good. And now let's do rollovers, but we're going to do them to the front, just like we did them with the ladies a couple days ago. You're going to do them to the front, twist, and come back. Let's say 5 times. We'll see how long that takes you. 5 times each side. I want you to focus on good.
My return was poor.
That's all right. That's the feedback. turn is all about mimicking where your body is at each moment when you come forward. Yep, much better, much better. And the beauty of practicing your return on rollovers is that it makes going forward way more easy. The video's skipping, but it looks like you're getting really smooth.
All right, other direction now.
Okay.
And that was 5 on each side.
Beautiful. Now give me 5 plank twists on each side, but going down to your side kick first. Side kick, plank twist.
Okay.
This is one of the places where your flow starts to, this is one of the first places your flow starts to break up. So I want to see where we're at here. Yeah. Good.
Do you want me to go to my knees or just on my side?
Come back up to your knees.
Okay.
Yep. Because we're working on flow, I want to do as larger movements as we can for each exercise. If we were training muscles, I would have you stay on your side.
All right, other side.
Good.
And 5.
Okay, so when we did styling on your form, we established a couple of things for you to focus on whenever you were struggling with flow. Do you remember what those were?
No.
Okay, so one of them is to do your breakdowns, right? So do one movement over and over and over again, because the repetition is going to make that movement smoother and smoother. So that's one way. We just did that. The second way is to slow that movement down. So now I want you to do 5 of those again on each side, but I want you to do them even slower.
That's work.
Yep, but still focusing on effortlessness. So even though you know going slower takes more energy, search for the path of least resistance. Yep, yep. Going slower is going to show you where your inconsistencies are.
In my weakness. Coming back up here.
And I can see it. I can see it. Figure out what it is. Is it something you're not doing in your core? Is it your shoulder, a hip? Could be a weight distribution thing.
Other side.
Video is pretty jerky, so it's hard for me to give you feedback on how smooth you're being, but I know you're getting smoother and smoother because that's the way this works. Like animated GIF juggling.
And 5.
Good. All right, so I would normally have you do this several times, but since we're recording, I'm only going to have you do it once. I want you to get comfortable on your ball, and I want you to visualize in your mind, in real time, you doing the whole form more fluidly than you've ever done it before in your life. Okay, let me know when you're going to begin, and let me know when you're done. Visualize the whole form more fluidly than you've ever actually done it.
Am I only visualizing or am I actually doing?
You're just visualizing.
All righty.
I want you to especially visualize the feeling of it. That's even more important than the visuals of it.
Great.
Got it?
Yeah.
All right, now you're going to start in ready position, and you're going to do the form. And as you do it, you're going to remember that feeling of flow, of fluidity, effortlessness. Good. And back up to center. So I got choppy video, so I can't give you feedback on the fluidity of your piece, but you know, your poses, your form was real good. Tell me what the flow felt like to you.
I felt as if I was extending better, which is one of my big issues. I talk about floppy legs.
Mm-hmm.
I felt as if I could move into the dragonfly better. That's where I feel like I'm really at my worst, going from, I think they call it rocking horse to knees to dragonfly.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that transition isn't as smooth as I would like it to be, but I
Okay.
felt like, and then I lost myself for a second, and it was just a matter of, because I was trying to go slow, and I
When you
might have
when
been.
you say you lost yourself, you mean is that where you messed up?
Yeah, I had a little misbalance. I lost a little balance taking my left leg over the wall.
Got you. That's okay. Every one of those is learning. So as a whole, did you experience more flow inside of that one than the one you posted the other day?
Yes.
Good. Good. So that's the key with flow, is just like balance, you have to practice it, right? And the more you practice it, the deeper you get in the experience, the more familiar your body becomes with the feeling. You have to remember, if you want to be sane, you have to remember that there's no such thing as perfect flow, just like there's no such thing as perfect balance. Anybody seeking perfect balance is going to be miserable, right? Like, because you're never gonna get it. It's not about perfection. It's about the process. It's about allowing a process to happen more and more effortlessly. And there is no perfect amount of effortlessness. There are only gradations. It's a spectrum. Okay, so now I want to end today with some freestyle, and I'll give you a few cues, because the thing with freestyle, and this always amazes me, is that people don't know what to do with themselves, right? Like they don't know what to do next or whatever. And that's not because there aren't options, right? There are literally infinite options of what you can do with your body in between this ball and this bar. But it's because our brains are built on patterns and we're used to moving through patterns. And without those patterns, we get lost very easily. Okay. And freestyle, the idea is you never get lost because you're never trying to get anywhere. You're just playing. You're exploring, right? And so it's not about being pretty. It's not about not messing up. It's not about whatever. It's about exploring in a playful and a free way. So I'm not going to give you individual moves. I'm just going to give you things to think about in terms of the equipment and the space around the equipment. Any questions before we start?
Well, I just want you to, we have about 5 minutes. We might, next time, if we can do it at 4. I forgot there's a 5:30 class. You guys are fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you need 5 minutes to break all your stuff down.
We're pretty flexible, so don't.
They said they're flexible. Okay, let's get up here. How flexible you are.
Okay, well that's perfect. We'll just do 5 minutes of freestyle. I want you to start sitting on the ball, and as you begin your freestyle, I want you to let yourself move any way that feels natural, any way that feels fun, any way that feels exploratory. But I want you to focus on the distance between one vertical bar and the other. And I want you to try and traverse that distance a couple of times with your exploration. So I want you going from one side to the other at the beginning, and then I'll give you other cues to work with. Never be afraid of going fast, especially in freestyle. Okay, now I want you to remember that you can use the floor. I want you, like everybody forgets, the floor is a part of the apparatus. So it's not float on the ball, game. The floor is a part of that. And if you don't use the floor, you tremendously limit your options.
Oh, now my head's stuck on the floor.
Always a challenge when you hang from your knees. That ball wants to run away from you. Nice. So one of the things I like to focus on the most when I'm freestyling is stretching. I'm always looking for a good stretch. And all my moves, all my forms, all my stuff comes out of finding good stretches. And when you're freestyling, don't be afraid to hold a spot if it feels good. Like, you know, really appreciate a particular stretch. Good. And now play with some orbital movements, circles. Whatever's on the ball is doing a circle. The upper body can circle, the lower body can circle, the legs can circle, the shoulders can circle, the arms can circle. Yep. Nice. Don't forget you can use the floor. If you don't use the floor, you get stuck in this floaty ball thing where all you can really do is just twist on your stomach. That's like all you can do. If you use that floor, you then end up with all of these options and incredible ways to stretch the body that you never get if you're only floating. And then also you did another one, you let go of the bar. So we got to remember that we're not stuck to the bar, right? If we're stuck to the bar, once again, we're going to be tremendously limited.
Well, everything's a tool, whether it be the floor, the ball, or the bar. They don't have to be all.
Everything is game, and the idea is to play and feel good. And the only obstacle between you playing and feeling good is your own mind. Beautiful. And back up to, just go ahead and come down to the camera. Very nice, very nice. So homework this week is your floaty Tai Chi Qigong arms floating over that wave. And I want you to do at least a little bit of freestyle each day. And in that freestyle, I want you to focus on number one, breaking patterns, not doing the same movement over and over again. And then number two, the places that happen where what you're thinking and who you are disappear and you're nothing but the movement itself. I want you to pay attention to those pockets. Don't try to make them happen. They happen all the time naturally. I want you to pay attention to when they happen and what they feel like. And the same way, once you could feel what your body feels like moving effortlessly, then you could recreate that effortlessness. Once you know what your body and your mind feel like when you're in flow, when you're not thinking, when you're not controlling, it will be easier to emulate that as well. Make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Great work. Hit me on text if you have any questions or whatever so we can get out of their way.
Okay.
I'll see you Tuesday at what time?
3
5.
o'clock time.
It's 2 o'clock my time, isn't it?
2 o'clock, yes. 2 o'clock your time, yes.
Difference, okay? I'm like not good at time and space, so don't like give me any reasons to mess up. 3 o'clock my time Tuesday. You have a great weekend, hon.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.